My
All
screen
right,
says recording.
we are recording at this point here, so welcome to everybody to our midweek update. I'm comforted by the fact that uh, calls it his Rom's Ramblings, so that takes the pressure off a little bit. And I'm joined today by Chuck Ryan, who is back home and recovering after his extensive back surgery. From what was the date that you had your surgery, Chuck?
That would have been 2 months ago. So it was very close to May 12th.
Okay, so it's been a long ride, or I'm sure a long journey
Yes.
so far, and a long one to go. So before we get started here with our topic for today, I just wanted to mention after Kathy's prayers earlier in the week, she mentioned the family of Jody Hernandez, and we were informed yesterday that Jody passed away yesterday while she was in home hospice. And Glenn notified us, Glenn Eichsted's sister, and Glenn notified us that she was surrounded by her family. And so prayers go out to the Eichsted family and the Hernandez family, and keeping those people close in our prayers. So the other group of people that I'd really like to make sure that we can connect with and contact and let them know that they are in our hearts and our thoughts is the group of shut-ins and people who are isolated for many reasons, mostly due to the COVID outbreak, and others that are in long-term care facilities or isolated at home. And and there's kind of layers to the isolation too, and having the ability to connect in a meeting like this really does help that. But we've got people that are not only physically isolated, but also electronically isolated. And in today's society, we sometimes take for granted the ability to have meetings like this. So Chuck, I just wanted to have you share with everyone what you went through with your surgery and some of the things that you told us that you noticed about the whole experience. So
Well, I'd be happy to, and we have a congregation full of people who have been through the stones on the road of life. We've had a lot of people that have had life-altering and life-threatening surgeries, so I surely don't want to draw any attention to myself that I'm the only one. And we have a lot of people that pray for them. But I had back problems, as everybody knows. For the last couple of years, I'd been stumbling around. And after I got back from Florida, I consulted the spine division at Frederick Hospital. And as it turned out, COVID-19 had moved in and out, and they had a lot of cancellations. And so one day they asked me to go to Menominee Falls for a COVID-19 test. And if I were negative, I should come down the next day. And that's the way it turned out. A lot of people say they didn't know. Well, I didn't either. And I found myself on the sidewalk at Frederick Hospital at the advanced care unit, kissing Mary goodbye. That was it. And of course, I hadn't given this much thought, but she of course couldn't go in. And I was on my way to be locked in there for the next 3 weeks. And I found that, everybody said, "How are you getting along?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to see my family. I'd like to have my," and of course they all understood that. But I was traumatized by that, and did some extraordinary feats in the rehabilitation unit so I could come home. Otherwise I would have had to stay another week or so. And but it was difficult. And I had a couple stumbles when I came from recovery to ICU or the other way around. I'd never had the surgery was very stressful. It was 8 hours, and I lost a lot of body fluids, and I'm sure I was under good care. But my heart decided to take a few bleeps on the curve, and of course, people in hospitals don't like that. They like when your heart stays good and steady. And so all of a sudden, I was in this room being the star player in one of those daytime medical soap operas. They're shouting out all those words. And I don't even know. I think I was probably under too much anesthetic to be scared. Um, but but I do know that a young person with long curly hair put her face down next to mine on the gurney after I had lost all my fluids, and it was an awful mess. One, it's hard to describe. And she said, "I called Mary, and I told her that you're going to be okay." And then she said, "And I'm going to hold your hand and stay right here with you until you are okay." Well, I after a week or so, I remembered about how it is to have Jesus in your life, and I think that was Jesus, that young person with that long curly hair, that put their head down there, because it was very assuring. But at any rate, as I moved through this, I realized how difficult this was going to be, to have to stay there by myself. We did have some phone conversations, but it's not the same. And I surely know that we have a lot of people in nursing homes, and and because I work on the Caring Ministries program, I have a couple of people that I was visiting almost on a monthly basis that I was the only person they saw. And of course, they haven't seen me now for months. And so they're very isolated. And so I think that one of the things that I did, as I've tried to call people, someone every week that I haven't had any contact with, and I did call Bill Seefeld because of that remarkable article that he put in the newsletter about the lemonade. And that article, I think, is reflexive upon how it is for older people. You know, we had a lot quieter life 60 years ago,
Right.
than we do now. We weren't used to being isolated. We were used to being isolated because where were we going to go? There was no place to go. You went to church, and during the school year, you went to school, but we just didn't have all the activities available that we have today.
Yeah, that's one of the bonuses, I think, of what's happened to us as a society in the last few months, is that people are spending more time with their immediate family, and you know, that's a blessing. But some of these people that are in nursing homes don't even have that opportunity like you did when you were in the hospital. So
No.
that's one of the things that I'd like to try to do a little bit more of myself, and I'd like anyone who's listening to this conversation, if you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions, I'm going to be talking to Jessica in the church office and see if I can get some phone numbers. But if we can get some type of a phone tree going, if people don't have access to computers, I think what you know talked about there, and that's their comfort zone in terms of communicating with other people too. I think people you know, respond to a phone call almost as well as an in-person visit. And so, you know,
They do.
and so we do
You know,
want, go ahead.
I think I wanted to say that because I know you spent almost your whole life in education and spend a lot of time helping children understand the concepts of taking a test. And you spend a lot of time in school preparing to take the test that's going to be reflexive upon how you did on the course of studies. But in life, where we are out here today, you take the test first, and then you get the experience, and hopefully you pass.
Right.
And we have a lot of people locked up in these nursing homes and assisted living that are taking a test right now to see if they can pass it, because it's very difficult to pass that test.
Yes. So, like I said, if anybody has any suggestions, or even a way to, you know, get a recording, I'm sure, I know that the DVDs that we're recording of our Sunday services are going well, and as we look forward to getting back together, hopefully on the 19th, in some form or fashion, we all have to realize that it's not going to be the same as it was before. And so we're going to be looking forward to welcoming Ron back this Sunday. And he's starting a new series this Sunday, and it just celebrated a birthday. So we want to wish Ron a happy birthday belatedly. And he caught up to me now. We both turned 62 in the past week. So I like your comment to him, Chuck, about is 62 too old to eat ice cream. I think Ron will prove that prove that wrong. But
Oh, good.
so so as we move forward, it's a new Trinity, and we've kind of gone into a new stage in our life as a church here, and we're just entering into it. Like you said, Chuck, this is the test. I don't know if we're ready for the test or not, but it's the test of how can we do things safely and include everyone as much as possible. So I'm looking forward to any ideas that we have to do that, and look forward to seeing people that we haven't seen for a while. And just a reminder that the coffee hour that we started on Sundays, we're going to do it at 9 o'clock this week instead of 8:30, so we can all have a chance to watch Ram's sermon first, and then we can get together on our Zoom coffee hour. So I guess with that, I'd like to say, and if you have any last words here, Chuck, feel free. But with that, I'm going to be signing off. So if you would like to say something to the congregation.
Well, I thank you for the time to share this time together. And I look forward to seeing you all. I'd like to shake hands and give a lot of you hugs, but that's not the nature of the new normal. So for those of you, I'll just look forward to seeing you.
All right, likewise. So, all right, thanks, Chuck. And
Okay,
we'll see you
have a nice
soon.
day.
Okay,
Okay, God bless.